Welcome to the Angels, Magic and Joy podcast. This podcast is for those who seek answers from above, guidance and magical inspiration.
Immerse yourself in the realms of magic, angels, fairies, unicorns, dragons, and so much more. I'm Kirsty Jandrell, and I'm delighted to be here with you today.
And I am Kate Lachman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Angels, Magic and Joy podcast. Today, we are so blessed to be joined by Laura Rinnankoski, who is an international transformational coach and relationship coach. She's a best-selling author and has appeared in numerous magazine publications and has won many awards. So, Laura, hi. Thank you so much for joining us today and welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Laura. We're absolutely thrilled. So, Laura, you've appeared in 2 best-selling books. Can you tell us more about those, please? And I believe that the latest one is Amazon bestseller called Burned.
Yes, they're actually both Amazon. They're actually both Amazon bestsellers. The first one is called Quiet and Badass. Visionary women embracing their uniqueness to create epic impact. So I'm not quiet, but I'm definitely a badass. It's 18 of us. It's 18 of us in this book. It's actually 18 coaches, and the coaches are from the States, the UK, Canada, Australia, South Africa, and me in Ireland. So the way that this book came about was the reason why it's called Quiet and Badass was because the publisher is a coach herself, and she's an introvert, right? So when she first started thinking about this book, she wanted to, write a book about like introverted coaches and how introverted coaches can be badasses as well. But then it expanded to extroverted coaches in there as well. So that's why it's called Quiet and Badass, because people have asked me like, you're not quiet. Yeah, I'm definitely not quiet, but I'm definitely a badass. So that book is amazing because it's full of stories of difficult moments that we've been through and how we got to the other side, and and what we learned in the process. So yeah, and my chapter is the first one. I actually asked for the first chapter and I got it, and it's called An Unstoppable Citizen of the World, because I feel like an unstoppable citizen of the world. And that book came out in September 2022, and we became bestsellers in the UK, the US, and Australia, in women in business, and actually several categories of women in business. And just recently we won the International Epic Impact Award, like a book award. That book just won that award. So that was an amazing thing that just happened. So that was the first book. And actually it's amazing because after that book got published, it opened like a new portal in my life, right? Because I mean, I had been a coach for 15 years, and of course, a lot of hard work and dedication goes into those 15 years, right? Of course, many twists and turns along the way as well. But then after that book got published and it became a bestseller, it opened up like a floodgate of amazing opportunities that came flooding in, because after that book was published, I got 6 awards and 3 magazine covers, just like, so it definitely opened up new opportunities. And now the second book is called Burned, Brave and Inspiring Stories from Women Who Have Overcome Their Fears to Speak Their Truth and Share Their Wisdom. And this one was just launched on the 25th of January on Amazon. And we also became bestsellers in 7 countries, in 57 categories. I didn't even know that there were 57 categories, so that was and that just happened now, and actually this book is really special because it's also 18 of us. 18 is like the magic number of these co-authored books. And this book is all about getting your power back and getting your voice back, right? And even the title of Burned, right? It kind of sounds like, you know, it's like the witches that were burned in the past that are coming back, right? But it's also about owning, like owning those your intuitive gifts, right? Like owning your intuitive gifts and owning your power in all ways. And the reason why I decided to be in this book, I hadn't planned on being in this book, but I actually broke like a vow from a past life, a vow of poverty and silence from a past life, right? So that's what inspired me to be in this book, right? And it's amazing because the vow of silence, I mean, I definitely I definitely broke that, you know, because you know I talk a lot and I have so much visibility right now, right? So that vow has definitely that vow has definitely been broken. But even in my life, you know, like I write about somebody that tried to silence me, and actually that person is connected to that life where I took that, you know, vow. So it's really interesting, you know, like how all of these stories weave together. And you know, we launched on Amazon the 25th of January. We became bestsellers, and now the paperback is launching at the end of March, and we're also going to have an audio book as well. And what's really cool is that we're all going to, you know, read our own chapters, which is going to be really special.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds so cool. Oh, and yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And as you were talking, I was I was actually having a peek at your book today because I do want to read it myself.
Yeah, it's a great book.
It's
Like the stories
fantastic.
are just amazing. Yeah,
And as you were talking and talking about the title, and of course the imagery on the front cover are very evocative, aren't they, of that sort
very.
of witch wound, and you know,
Yeah,
straight away there's that connection made. So I love the
yeah,
fact that
definitely.
we've
It's
that
about
in.
healing the witch wound.
Mm.
It really is, you know. Yeah, getting your voice back and your power back in all ways, and I'm all about that. You know, getting your voice back and your power back.
And really celebrating that and thanking you for all that amazing work that you're doing with women
Yeah,
right now, and to do that because it's so much needed. And you know, it's still something that's quite a barrier for a lot of spiritual quote unquote women, you know, in their
yeah,
visibility. I think
definitely.
you will agree. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, so coming back to you as a coach,
Yes.
Laura, and how many people you are helping. I love the fact that you describe one of your reasons for becoming a life coach because it combines three different things that have been important to you. Those being helping people, communicating in different languages. I'll let you speak into that, and spirituality. So I love the fact that you've woven those three threads together to produce that's produced the passion for your work. So could you tell us a little bit more about how the interplay really between the three? And
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, so I've always known that I'm here to help people, and I've always known that I have a big mission. When I was little, I would ask my mom, "Mom, why are you you? Why am I me? What's the meaning of my life?" You know, kids usually don't ask this. So so I was a very conscious child. Like I was very awake, and when people ask me, "How long have you been spiritual?" Always. Like I was born, you know, I was born spiritual. Like I always knew that, you know, that yeah, that there was something bigger, and that I was here, and that I had, you know, a big mission, and I knew that I was here to help people. I knew that I was going to be a part of the shift of you know, the consciousness of humanity that we're going through right now. So yeah, I've always known that. And then I'm a big communicator. I love talking to people. I'm very extroverted, and I speak four languages. I speak English, Spanish, Finnish, and Italian. The reason I speak all those languages is because I was born in Finland. I grew up in Venezuela, and then I studied in Boston, then Miami, and now I live in Dublin, Ireland. So when people ask me where I'm from, it's like everywhere, you know, citizen of the world, you know. I say that, that I'm Finnish, Venezuelan, American, Irish, you know, a little bit, of, everything, mixed. And then spirituality, I've always been spiritual as well. So coaching really combines these three things very well for me. And it's amazing how I actually found coaching, because it happened through all this crazy synchronicity, right? Because when I was when I was in the States, I had heard about coaching, but I was working in advertising, and working late every night. Advertising is a crazy it's a crazy world. Like, I actually did the movie advertising of Matrix Reloaded for Latin America. I mean, that was one of the biggest projects that I did. It's actually funny because in Miami, my advertising career started with a movie and ended with, because I worked, Ericsson was my first client, and there was a James Bond movie, Tomorrow Never Dies, that had the Ericsson phone in it, and I did the advertising campaign of that movie promotion, and then it ended with Matrix Reloaded, with the Samsung phone in Matrix Reloaded. So it's like Miami started with the movie and ended with the movie as well. So I was very wrapped up, in the advertising world, and working a lot. So when I came to Ireland, actually before coming to Ireland, I went to Finland first, to spend time, with family. And then in Finland, for my birthday, I actually got an Indian head massage in Finland. And the person that gave me the Indian head massage had been trained by an Irish life coach, right? So then and then I told her that I was coming to Ireland, and then she's like, "Oh, well, I got trained by this Irish life coach, so you should get in touch with her when you go to Ireland." I'm like, "Okay, perfect." So I got in touch with her, and then she did like a weekend retreat in Chrysalis, which was a spiritual retreat center in Wicklow, and it was an Irish life coach and a Finnish life coach, who's like a very famous life coach in Finland. So I did that weekend retreat with them, and that was life changing. That's when I decided to become a life coach. So it's amazing, like all these like synchronicities that happened, that led to me becoming a coach. Yeah.
Wow, your story is absolutely amazing, Laura, and I'm delighted actually we can have that chat, because I know you personally, and you have so many different things in you that you're like an endless discovery for me personally. And coming back to spirituality, as this is something that combines us all here, and you're a very spiritual person, as you've mentioned, since
Yeah.
you remember, and I can relate to that. I reply always the same when someone's asking me since when. I'm like, I was
Yeah.
born this way.
Forever. Like, I've always been spiritual. Like,
Exactly.
always.
So I would like to come back to that topic a bit, as myself and Kirsty were, as you know, very much into angels, into all of
Yes.
those beautiful realms. And we're feeling that the rise of so many beings supporting us as a humanity right now, and cheering us on our paths. And I would like to ask you about your angelic experiences, about your experiences with those realms, with those beautiful beings. If you could share with us maybe something the most impactful, or something that you've remembered the most in your life, something connected with the angels or the angelic
Yeah.
realms, or all the goodies that we love, because I know you have loads, and I know you
Yes.
have many, but if you could share with us some of those.
Yes. I actually have lots of stories of angels. I've always been very connected to angels as well. Since I was a child, again. Since I was a child, I've been very connected to angels, and even the number 44. I see 44 all the time. Like, when the time, there will be like 7:44. Yeah, I see 44 all the time, and then I always think of the angels. So yeah, I've had many experiences with angels. One of the most impactful experiences was, I once I could have died in a car accident, right? And and I know that there was angelic intervention there that saved me, because it wasn't my time to go. And it's crazy, because I had a boyfriend that lived in the south of France, and we traveled a lot. And I always wanted to go to Saint Tropez. I was like, I want to go to Saint Tropez. I want to go to Saint Tropez. And something would always happen that we couldn't go. And then finally one day we went, right? I'm like, okay, now we're going, right? So the road to Saint Tropez is this crazy squiggly road, which is full of like, you know, flowers and crosses because so many people have died on this road, right? It's a very dangerous road, right? So we drove there during the day and I saw, you know, all the crosses on the flowers. So, and of course I know that that's because people have died there, right? So we went to Saint Tropez and we spent the day there, had a great day. And then driving back, you know, we drove back at night, right? So it was dark. And my boyfriend at the time, he was not a very patient person. So there was a car in front of us that was driving really slow. So he got really impatient and he started overtaking the car on the wrong side, right? Because he wanted to pass the car that was really slow. So we're on the wrong side and he's trying to pass him, and then all of a sudden I see like the barrier, like this barrier, you know, coming like on the side, right? And then I remember closing my eyes and thinking to myself, this is such a stupid way to die. Like I can't believe that I'm gonna die like this, you know, because my boyfriend is so impatient that he couldn't, you know, like he couldn't cross, past the car like in a normal way. So I'm sure that there was some kind of angelic intervention there, because what happened literally like defied the laws of physics. I closed my eyes because I didn't want to see how I was gonna die, like that I was gonna die in such a stupid way. But somehow he was able to like accelerate and he got in front of the other car. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't our time. It wasn't our time to go. And then when I got home, I heard from my sister that one of her cats had like died, and she was run over by a car. So I got a feeling that that cat gave her life for mine, because I almost died in a car, and then the cat got run over by a car. So that was one of the things that stands out. And then I've also seen angels as well. I've actually, like, I can feel angels, like I can feel like an angelic presence, but I've actually seen other people's angels. Like I've seen like once I was doing the summer camp in Finland, and I had a German friend, and many things had happened to her and she had a very close connection to her guardian angel. And then we were in this cabin, and she was leaning, we were leaving, right? And then the fireplace had been on, and then she was leaning like in front of the fireplace. Then I saw her reflection on the window, but the reflection that I saw was not her. The reflection that I saw was, I remember seeing like this golden curly blonde hair and blue eyes, right? Like really, like, I remember seeing it and I was just like, wow. And then I remember looking away and I looked again and it was still there, and I was like, oh my, I had never seen something like that, right? So when we went back to the main house, like I had to tell her, I'm like, sorry, like I have to, you're gonna think that I'm crazy, but I have to tell you what I saw. And when I told her, you know, I saw your reflection, but it wasn't you, like I saw somebody else. Then she said to me, oh, did you see blonde hair and blue eyes? I was like, yeah. How did you know? She's like, you saw my guardian angel. And I was like, okay. So I saw her guardian angel, and I still remember, like I still remember what it was like. And even when I've had really powerful coaching sessions, I can actually like feel like the angelic presence of you know, people's angels coming in. And sometimes I can see like the variations, you know, like, yeah. So yeah, so I'm very connected to the angels, and I pray to them. I ask them for help. You know, I ask them for help a lot, because I know that they can only help you if you ask them for help, you know. So yeah, so I'm very, very, very connected to angels.
Do you mind me asking and adding a little bit to that? Because there is so much magic around you, Laura. Could you expand a little bit more on the mermaids and maybe Egypt a little bit? I just feel like asking. It's just, you're such an interesting person. I feel like I wish to pull more from you. What's your connection with mermaids? Why mermaids?
Why mermaids? Yeah, so I've always felt connected to mermaids. When I was little, I would have lots of dreams. I would have lots of dreams with mermaids. And I'm a Pisces. You know, it's my birthday 3 days ago. I'm a Pisces, so even, yeah, so I feel like a Pisces mermaid. even this necklace that I got and this bracelet that I got, you know, like there's so much mermaid energy. And also, you know, when I would read Doreen Virtue's, you know, books, like she has this one book, where she talks about like different elementals, and she talks about what kind of people like mermaid people are, you know. And when I would read it, I was like, wow, like that's me. Like I'm like a mer angel, you know, mermaid angel. It's like that's me, you know. So yeah, I feel very connected to the mermaids. And then yeah, Egypt and Atlantis as well. Like you know, I haven't been to Egypt in this life, but I know that I've had several past lives there, and I know that I have to go to Egypt in this life. And I'm also very connected to Atlantis as well. I've had many dreams. I've had many visions. Like I know that I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, now I want to ask you about Atlantis.
I'm also connected to the dolphins as well. I'm also connected to dolphins, and the dolphins have a connection to Egypt and Atlantis as well. And I've seen a lot of dolphins like in the, you know, like in the wild, like in Miami kayaking, and they came and they jumped in front of me, and I saw Fungi in Dingle. Not only did I see him, he gave us a show. He jumped like in the air like 10 times. So I have a really special connection to dolphins. Like I've seen them in the wild, and I also dream with them as well.
Oh my goodness, it's
Yeah.
amazing. So can I ask you? Thank you so much for sharing this, and I'm really getting this lovely mermaid, angelic mermaid vibe from you. This energy, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what you say about you being a mer angel is is absolutely right. Can I ask you more about Atlantis, Laura? Because
Yeah.
I feel that it seems that a lot of people on the path now, on the spiritual path, are slowly coming into a remembrance of, you know, maybe in particular the fall of Atlantis, but also, you know,
Yeah.
their previous incarnations. So, is that something that you've experienced? I'm wondering, you know,
Yeah.
personally or in your coaching sessions, and
Yeah. Definitely. And even being in Ireland, right? Like
Mm,
Ireland is very connected to Egypt and Atlantis. I remember there's this one woman, you know, that she actually lives in Egypt and in Ireland. Like she goes back and forth, and she talks about the connection between Ireland, Egypt, and Atlantis. And when I listen to her, I'm like, my God, like you know, like I resonate with everything so much, and I get, you know, goosebumps, or cosmic goosebumps, as I call them. But yeah, like I think one of the reasons that I'm in Ireland is because of the Atlantis connection here. It's definitely not the weather. I complain about the Irish weather all the time. But yeah, like I think it's definitely connected to Atlantis. And there's so many spiritual people here connected to Atlantis and Egypt, and yeah, and all of it. So yeah, I'm very connected to that. And even the mermaid aspect and the dolphins are connected to Atlantis.
yeah, no coincidences. You're in the right place at the right
Yeah.
time. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And talking about sort of feeling into more this you know, this awareness of people becoming more awake, people awakening spiritually at the moment in vast numbers, it seems. And um there's a real emphasis, isn't there, about us finding a balance. You know, things have been so out of balance for so many thousands of years. And of course, in the last couple of years in particular, we've seen the rise of the divine feminine.
Yes.
So much needed, of course, to address this balance.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering whether you could sort of speak into how this inner balance of our sacred masculine with our divine feminine is playing out on, and why it's so important at this point, really, please.
Yes, it's very important. And I actually mentioned, you know, the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine actually in both books. And, you know, like right now, of course, the you know, the masculine energies have been dominating the, you know, the planet for a long time. It's, you know, it's been a little chaotic. So now, with the rise of the feminine energies, it's about bringing balance. It's about bringing balance to both of those energies, right? But every time that there's a change in energies or a shift in energies, there's a wobble, right? So it takes some time to find that balance. And right now, sometimes it feels like there's a war going on between, you know, between those energies. You know, there's the Me Too movement and the men going alone movement, and there's all these crazy movements out there, right? But it's not about the wars or battles between these energies. It's about finding the balance. It's about finding the balance with these energies. And even these books, you know, many men have told me about these books. Oh yeah, your books are just for women, they're not for men. I'm like, no, they're for both. They're for women and men, right? Because yes, the stories are about women, but when men read these books, they're going to understand women better, right? And I think that it's really important to find better ways to communicate and understand each other, and to, you know, talk to each other with respect and dignity. You know, of course, acknowledging the differences, because yes, there are differences between the masculine and the feminine. But I think it's also, you know, there are ways to understand each other better and to communicate with each other better. And all of us, you know, inside, we all have masculine and feminine energies inside. So the more balanced those energies are within us, the more balanced those energies will be in the outside world as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Uh,
Love that, Laura, coming from the coming from the place of unity rather than a separation. I absolutely love that, because I really
Yes.
feel that from you, as you speak. That you know, we would always find each other's on either on one spectrum or on the side of the other spectrum, but it's never about us. We both have both of those energies within us, so it's never.
Yes.
And I've noticed as well that we would often hope that the other is always the other side's fault, but it's always everything within
Yeah.
us. So absolutely love that, how you speak. And so with that in mind, I believe you have a new course called Breakthrough to Love. Can you tell
Yes.
us more about that? Because that sounds very exciting and interesting.
Yes, breakthrough to love. Yeah, the title says it all, right? So breakthrough to love is all about improving the relationship that you have with yourself, which will then improve all the relationships in your life, because everything begins and ends with you, right? You can't change anybody else. The only person that you can change is you, right? And I think it sounds so basic, but it's something which is really good to remind people of, you know, because many times people, you know, want to change other people, or they think like, you know, this relationship would be so much better if the other person, you know, shaped up. But it's like, you can't change anybody else. You can only change yourself, right? And, you know, in breakthrough to love, we look at so many different aspects. One of the most important aspects is self-love, self-esteem, self-respect, all the selves, right? All the selves that only you can give to yourself. Nobody else can give you these selves. And these things are things that all of us need to work on every single day, right? Like it sounds so basic, but it's so important, right? Because so many people, you know, they're so hard on themselves, and they beat themselves up for things that didn't go well, right? So it's about becoming your own best friend instead of being your own worst enemy, right? So yeah, so it's something that we need to work on, you know, every day. And you know, a really important thing is to monitor what kind of self-talk do you have. Do you mostly say good positive things to yourself on a constant basis, or do you mostly say negative things to yourself, right? Because the way that you talk to yourself, you're telling the world and other people to treat you like this and to talk to you like this, right? So it's so important to be loving and compassionate with yourself first, and then, and then that will translate, to being loving and compassionate with other people as well. We look at that, we look at forgiveness is so important, and many times the hardest person to forgive in any situation is yourself, right? So, and you need to forgive yourself for anything that happened in the past, and see what did you learn from the situation. And yeah, we do vision boards, self-love, forgiveness, vision boards. We look at the stories that you tell yourself, because we all have stories that we tell ourselves, right? And you can't change what happened in the past, but you can change the story that you're telling yourself about something that happened to you, right? So all of these things weave together to create the type of relationships that you have, right? First with yourself, and then with everybody else in your life, whether it's with family members, romantic partners, work colleagues, everybody. So it's a great course. I've given this course several times in person, and I have amazing testimonials. I had one woman that came, and she had completely given up on love and relationships. She was like, "That's it, I'm done." And then after taking the course, she started, believing in herself again, believing in love and relationships again. I actually went to her wedding last year, so it was a really nice, full circle moment, to yeah to see, these are the type of things that can happen, when you change those stories, and you start believing in yourself again. So really, really powerful things can happen. And now I'm going to give this course online. It's starting on the 22nd of April. So I'm looking forward to giving it online. And it's really special because when you work with a group of people, there's always common themes that come out. So it's online. It's 6 weeks. It's 12 hours, so it's like 2 hours each night, and we're gonna get together every Monday evening for 6 weeks, starting on the 22nd of April. And then all the details are on Eventbrite, so you can put Breakthrough to Love on Eventbrite, or you can send me an email to lauracoaching@gmail.com. So yeah.
Oh, it sounds beautiful, really does. Thank you. And as you say, it's yes, it's a simplistic thing to love yourself, but it's no easy task, is it, for most of us, because we've been conditioned in a completely the opposite way. Again, back to
Exactly. It's actually like it's funny because many times it feels like it's the most important thing that we all need to do, and many times it's the hardest thing for people, right? Because if you look, like, most people, are really hard on themselves. They're really hard on themselves and really harsh, and very critical, right? So it's so important to cultivate that love and that compassion, to yourself, right? Which will then, translate, which you send that energy out into the world.
beautiful work. And I love the fact that it ended in a wedding. How magical.
That was really magical, and especially attending the wedding of somebody that had completely given up on love and relationships, and to see her transformation was just incredible. And it's amazing because we actually lost touch for several years, and then she contacted me again, and she became a jewelry designer, and then she designed these butterfly earrings for me, and my coaching symbol is the butterfly. And then I actually ended up doing one of her jewelry making workshops. And then I made myself a necklace, a necklace and earrings and a bracelet. And they were all the healing stones, like it had rose quartz, and all the stones were healing. And then they also have butterflies. So that was really nice. So it's like I made some jewelry with her, and then I went to her wedding as well, which was really, really special.
Yes, that's gorgeous. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and imagine if everybody in the world was filled with self-love, what a
Yeah.
different world it will
It would be a
be.
completely different world. Imagine.
Yeah,
Imagine.
so
Imagine if everybody cultivated,
yeah,
self-love and self-compassion and all that. Like, yeah, it would be a different world. There wouldn't be wars and conflicts.
no,
Yeah,
exactly.
all of that starts with, like every day you have to, choose between, do you choose love, or do you choose fear,
Mm,
right? So of course, fear and hate and division and all of that creates all the conflict and all the wars. If you choose, love, unity, compassion, then you literally choose another world, right?
yeah, yeah, that's so
Another
powerful.
reality,
It
another
really is.
reality. Yeah.
So go and sign up, please, to Laura's course. It sounds phenomenal. Oh, no, thank you. I totally agree with that importance of self-love. And I was just wondering, is there any, could you share a little tip for our audience on how they can maybe look at
Yes.
sort of slightly starting to change those patterns? Have you
Yeah,
got any
definitely.
tip
I'm
for
full.
us?
Yeah, exactly. Full of tips. So, okay. So the first
Thank
thing,
you.
tip number one.
Number one.
Tip number one. So every day, think of at least 5 things that you're grateful for, right? Like you can be grateful for a glass of water, and you can be grateful for a trip that you're going to take. It doesn't matter how big or how small this thing is. But the thing is that it's important to focus on the things that you're grateful for, because then you're going to attract more things to be grateful for, right? So you focus on the abundance and what you have instead of the lack. If you're always thinking about the things that you don't have, you're actually creating more lack in your life, right? So focus on the abundance always. And then you can also think about this is a great exercise that I give all of my coaching clients. I tell them to write a list of a hundred things that they like or love about themselves, right? When they first hear 100, they're like, "Ah, you crazy? 100 things? I can't think of 100 things that I love about myself," right? And then and then I tell them, okay, it doesn't have to be 100. Like you can write 10 things, 20 things, 30 things, 40 things, 50 things. It doesn't matter how many things are in there. But the most important thing is to actually do the exercise, right? Because if you need to acknowledge yourself and your own worth and your own value, because if you don't do that, nobody else can do that for you, right? So you need to acknowledge that within yourself, because you can only share something that you have within yourself, right? You can't share something with somebody else that you don't have within yourself first, right? So in a way, it's like you have to fill your own tanks first, right? You can picture like these different tanks. You have like a tank of self-love, a tank of abundance, a tank of, prosperity. Like you decide what those tanks are. And every morning, visualize these tanks filling up, because just like a car needs petrol, you need to have your tanks full to be able to give from a full tank. If you try to give from an empty tank, you're going to burn out, right? So yeah, so think about 4 or 5 tanks, what kind of tanks those would be, and fill them up each morning, and see how your life changes.
Oh, I love that, Laura. I love that we can pull so much from you today. And
Yeah, and find the joy in life. Find the joy in life. Choose to be happy, right? Because everything is a choice. It's your choice whether you choose to be happy or miserable. Yeah, you can't control what happens in the outside world, but you always control how you react to whatever happens to you in the outside world, right? So choose joy, like choose happiness, and choose to focus on the little things, right? Those little things that make you happy add up to bigger things that are going to make you happy.
I love that. And I love your speaking about choosing. And it came to me recently that very often I would hear that someone is chosen for something. And I heard on one of the courses I was doing, oh, we're so lucky that we're chosen. And then it came to me that we're never chosen. We always choose ourselves. It's always up to us to be
Exactly.
chosen. We choose ourselves. Nobody
We
else
choose.
can. No, there's no force that is choosing us. Everybody are chosen as long they decide they want to be chosen. I
Exactly.
love that you mentioned that. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Laura.
Yeah.
You've shared so many goodies. I feel like I wish to have you every week here to share with us, to inspire with us. Just so full of. I love that you said, because usually when I've practiced that, I'll say 3 things, 10 things. You're like, no, 100 things that you love about us. Absolutely
Write down
love
100
that.
things.
The whole abundance that flows through you. Thank you so much, Laura. And coming to an end, again, thank you so much for joining us today. What is the best way? I know you've mentioned that before, but to mention that again, so we're all sure. Of course, we're going to be in the description. What's the best way to contact you,
Yeah.
to get in touch with you, for whoever's listening now?
Yeah, so the best way to contact me, my email is lauracoaching@gmail.com. And then, my website is Laura Rinnankoski, laurarinnankoski.com. But of course, my last name is a little difficult. So, for people to remember and spell. So lauracoaching@gmail.com is, the easiest way to contact me. And then, once you have, well, my last name is, Rinnankoski. If you Google me, then you'll find you'll find me everywhere. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and yeah, I'm on social media everywhere. So I've written lots of articles as well. I mean, there's all the articles in the magazines, the magazine covers. Like, there's, if you Google me, you'll find lots of things that I've written. you know it's like you have the books, you have the magazines, and more to come. I have a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, so there's lots. If you want to hear, more tips and insights from me, there's definitely a lot that you can find when you Google me.
Thank you so much. We will put all of your contacts in the show notes, Laura. And yeah, there's just, you just, the abundance and the joy is flowing from you. So thank you for sharing
Great.
with us today and our listeners. It's
Thank you
been,
so
Thank you so
much.
much. It was so nice to be here with you today.
Thank you.
oh, thank you. Until
Bye.
next time. Bye.